Conor McGregor is staying positive despite a recent knee injury. The former two-division champion has been sharing videos on social media, showcasing quality time with his family. In one notable clip, he's even seen having Joe Biden serve his new Mac energy drink.
There you go, Joe. That's it. Have a look. Beautiful. Top man. Fair play.
A recent video shows Conor McGregor rehabbing his leg, just 2 weeks after suffering a knee injury at UFC 329. Dana White addressed the injury during a post-fight press conference, confirming that McGregor is expected to be sidelined for approximately a year.
Dana, in the front, Matt Tucker, Fight Hub TV. We saw Conor McGregor doing leg exercises the other day. Any idea what's going on with that knee?
I have no idea. Yeah. We had him on FaceTime tonight ringside, but, you know, Conor McGregor's out for a year.
Dana, you said from the beginning.
You still asking me here? Yeah.
I am, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so...
You f***ed everybody up with a Conor McGregor question.
Let's take it back to boxing, Joe.
Okay, thanks.
We saw...
Daniel Cormier believes Magomed Ankalayev merits another UFC light heavyweight title shot.
Ankalayev getting that finish might have legitimately gotten him another opportunity to fight for the UFC championship against the new champion Carlos over when he comes back. He says that he wants to be back early next year. I don't know how likely that is with the knee injury he had, but we will see. But it was insanely important for Ankalayev to get a finish tonight, and he did that in the 5th round.
Jamahal Hill has spoken out about his current physique, recently taking to social media to jokingly highlight the benefits of his extra weight, embracing his noticeably heavier build. An update on Shavkat Rakhmonov's recovery. Physician Mikhail Marquardt reports that following multiple knee surgeries, Shavkat Rakhmonov isn't expected back in the octagon until winter of 2027. This timeline would mean a 3-year layoff since his last fight against Ian Machado Garry, marking a significant recovery period. Meanwhile, Dan Hooker, preparing for his fight against UFC newcomer Saladin Parnas, recently told Submission Radio that he's been receiving death threats since the matchup was announced.
The threats has been outrageous. I didn't get it when I fought BSD.
What do you mean the threats? What are you talking about?
Like just the French people, like speaking French and telling me that I'm gonna die and telling me they're gonna kill me and shit. Yeah, the threats have been outrageous. I think maybe because BSD is like because he's obviously French as well, my last opponent. I feel like just because he's such like a respectful guy that maybe the people that kind of follow him or support him aren't complete cunts. But whoever this cunt's fans are outrageous.
Meanwhile, Ian Machado Garry has sparked controversy with his recent comments ahead of his UFC title fight against Islam Makhachev. UFC featherweight Bryce Mitchell has responded, strongly criticizing Garry's remarks.
All right, 3 strikes and Ian Garry's out. The first strike, he made fun of Neil Magny for spanking his boy. When your boy acts up, you spank him on the butt. Shut up, Ian. You got to spank your kids. You spare the rod, your child will be unruly. That's biblical, straight out of the Bible. Number 2, it's the worst of all. He says that the women ought to rule the world and rule the household. That is a demonic lie from hell. The man is the leader of the household. We have qualities that make us great leaders and great protectors. Women do not have that. They are nurturers. They can make some decisions, but they're not the head of the household as described in the Bible. You need to read the Bible, Ian. And then the third strike for me, he said, oh, cleaning gutters is so bad, my nails was black afterwards. My hands were black because I had to touch old leaves and moss and pull them out of the gutter. Dude, that's a job. Shut up. Everybody's worked a job. I've been covered in cow manure and don't complain like that. Anyways, I do love watching Ian fight. Great fighter. I'll watch every single one of his fights. I will not ever watch an interview anymore. 3 strikes and he's out. I can't take no more.
Mike Davis expressed his frustration on social media after suffering a unanimous decision loss to Nurullo Aliyev at UFC Abu Dhabi. He criticized Aliyev's wrestling-heavy approach and went further, urging the UFC to reconsider signing wrestlers, claiming their style often results in a less-than-entertaining fight.
UFC, bro, I thought you were cutting wrestlers, bro. All they do is suck dick for 15 minutes and then don't even let you finish. Like, what are we doing? You've been cutting undefeated people on streaks all the time for wrestling. This isn't RAF, bro. This is gay. That is gay, bro. I wanted to fight. I felt good. I took this fight. I'm sick. I've been sick all week. And I still went out there and fought, and I felt great. I felt amazing. I didn't take a deep breath the entire fight. I was fine. Just hey people, bro, in the UFC. Get them out of here. Stand with me. I just want to bang, bro. I just want to bang.
Armen Sarukyan says Islam Makhachev is in his absolute prime, calling his timing, movement, and wrestling a nightmare for any opponent.
Islam gonna win him, but not like that. It was like so easy. I don't know. Islam now, right now, on his prime. That's crazy. How he feels distance, how he strides, how he's calm, and you see he does he moves so good. He doesn't spend like energy, you know. He just shoot on the right time, punch on the right time, and take him down.
Alexander Volkanovski gives his honest pick. He says Islam Makhachev carries scary knockout power, but Garry still has a real shot if he surprises him early.
If he puts hands on anyone, like if he traps them, you know, gets them where they don't want to be and lands a nice big shot, it's going to be game over. You know, I mean, he can knock out anyone, even in the lightweight division. But yeah, I just believe that probably would be his only chance, just from what I've seen, right? Like you hear about him having really good grappling, and you hear things, and you won't know till I see that at the highest level. So if he starts out grappling Islam or stop and takedown defense and things like that, then I'm going to be like, oh, okay, now I'm seeing something that I haven't really seen. So now then my opinion might change within the first round. But yeah, I haven't really seen that, so I'm going to go with what I know, and I know he can hit hard. I felt it firsthand. Well, I didn't feel, actually, I don't remember it. But it's but yeah, it's again, if he puts his hands, he can definitely catch him. So it's just as dangerous as anyone in that lightweight division.
Yeah.
Michael Bisping says people sleep on Garry way too much. He believes Islam Makhachev faces a much tougher fight than most fans expect.
And I'm telling you right now, this fight for Islam Makhachev may be a lot harder than what people think. Given all of the accolades that Islam Makhachev has, it's easy to just dismiss Garry and say, listen, he's got to just run right through him. Okay, you could send him to Dagestan or Georgia for 20 years and still forget all about it.
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
The guys who fought both can't even agree. But these next legends, they've felt Islam pressure up close, and they know what's coming.
So we just got to see what his motivation level is, you know, and you know, he's going to be a lot smaller than Ian. So, I mean, I think he inflicts his will, and, you know, he takes him down and makes it a boring fight. But, you know, definitely Ian can win. He has paths to victory on the feet, but we'll have to see what type of evolution he has in his wrestling.
Ariel Helwani says Islam Makhachev looks even better at welterweight, calling him the most complete fighter in the sport right now.
Give Islam all his flowers, all the credit in the world. He is unbelievable. He is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. It's scary to think that he's even better and more impressive at 170 than he is at 155. He completely shut out the welterweight champion in his first fight at 170 pounds. He looked very comfortable with the 15 extra pounds, and it was probably more by the time the fight happened. And what stood out to me the most is that it felt like a massive weight had been lifted off of Islam's shoulder.
Michael Bisping still picks Islam Makhachev as the favorite, but he warns everyone never to overlook Garry in a fight this big.
But anyway, Islam Makhachev, I don't think he's thinking about that. All he's thinking about doing is something that other people have never done, and that is defend belts in 2 weight divisions. As I say, he defended 4 times at lightweight, and now this will be his first ever defense at welterweight. And by the way, if he gets through Garry, and that is a big if, And I say that respectfully. And I assume Islam will be a massive favourite, and rightly so. I'm just saying, you can never count your chickens in this sport.
Joe Rogan says Islam Makhachev separates himself through unmatched discipline and relentless training. He explains that Islam lifestyle revolves around improving every single day, with total focus on becoming a better fighter.
Unbelievably grueling training sessions. And, you know, that was one of the things that was so apparent, like with his endurance and their discipline was like second to none. They were like, no girlfriends, no phones, no video games. We train. Yeah. And, you know, recover, train, eat, recover, train. And you wanna really be a champion? This is how you have to work. And this is why Islam Makhachev is so...
Islam Makhachev says he feels healthy, focused, and completely ready for Garry. He explains that every hard training camp has one goal: to make fight night look easy.
I'm ready. Who is gonna be next? Let's do this, and I will make it easy. And today I show you, Jake's one of the best in this game. You know, one of the hardest opponent. That's why I prepare so hard to make this easy, and this is our plan.
Chael Sonnen sticks with Islam Makhachev. He says elite wrestling wins fights, and that's why the champion stays the favorite heading into UFC 330.
Is still the favorite. And all that we get from that is all that we need to get from it, and it's very fair and very reasonable that in our expertise of watching the sport, if somebody is more dominant in a skill that really matters, such as wrestling, they're going to win the fight. Doesn't matter who's dynamic. And that entire make sure you're dynamic and make sure you're versatile, I mean, just trace it back. Just trace it back to its inception. It came from guys who sucked at wrestling, wanting wrestlers to not be as good at wrestling. I mean, if you trace it back, though, that's what you will find. Some fighters would even come out and say, well, she's going to take me down and hold me there. She's going to take me down and hump me. Going to take me down and lay on me. He's going to take me down and blanket me. I mean, they would start throwing these things out. And
nobody's calling this an easy fight. Every dude who's been locked in there with Islam or Garry keeps saying the same thing. One mistake and it's lights out.
He's got, you know, a very, very diverse ground game, but a very, very oppressive ground game. Very good at dominating people and making them feel suffocated, and you know, it must feel incredibly claustrophobic to get stuck underneath Makhachev and then start to feel him attacking a limb. You know, I mean, you know, I felt when I was fighting GSP, I knew what he was doing, but I couldn't stop him doing it. I'm like feeling him isolating a limb. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be difficult.
Garry says this is the kind of fight fans rarely get to witness. He believes both he and Islam Makhachev represent elite-level competitors, and he wants to prove he's the first man to solve the champion's puzzle.
I'm one of the greatest of all time. That the body of work, the performances I've done, and the names that I've fought, and the way I've gone out and beat people, means that when you talk about the greatest of all time, my name is in that conversation. What excites me about this fight is the fact that no one has solved this puzzle. No one has solved his jigsaw puzzle, and no one has solved mine. And both of us are going to win now and try and solve each other's puzzles. And I'm excited for that because it's something you don't see a lot in the UFC. We don't have a lot of elite level competition meeting each other at their undefeated stages in life, so I'm excited for this.
Javier Mendez believes Islam Makhachev is one of the most complete fighters in MMA because he excels in every area of the game. From striking and wrestling to judo and grappling, he says Islam has no real weakness. That's exactly why so many UFC legends keep picking the champion before UFC 330, believing Garry must deliver something extraordinary to overcome such a complete mixed martial artist.
Islam is that we didn't really have to do very much at all. We just had him do 5 rounds, and we've been kind of more or less doing that already. So he's already used to it, and he's so good everywhere. You know, he's a good striker, he's a good in the ground, he's a good wrestler, he has good judo, he has good kick, everywhere. He's good everywhere. So really, we just have to get him mentally in shape, mentally focused, and realistically, that's easy to do too because he's been so well trained from father. You know, Habib's father, Abdulmanap, done such a great job with him that for me, my job is really easy. And any other coach that comes in and trains Islam Makhachev is going to have an easy time with it because father has trained him extremely well from the get-go. You know, from what I hear, he was, you know, the #1 student for father. That's according to what Habib had told me. So I can see it. You know, you can see everything in Islam. He's everything that you're supposed to be. He handles himself well outside. He handles himself well inside. So he's the total package.
You know, you get used to it. You fight in other people's hometowns on the way coming up, trying to make a name for yourself. So it's not like it's familiar territory, but it's, of course, you want the crowd to be on your side. It's I guess it's different fighter to fighter, but for me, I got used to it. It wasn't a big deal if I got booed or.
So can we get your prediction for the main event?
I'm gonna go Islam by decision. Islam is huge.
He's huge.
He's huge.
He's too big for 55, and then you see him at 170. Like, how did you ever make 55?
Right.
Because he's so dominant at 170.
Yeah, Hunter from the UFC, I was in his office not too long ago, and they keep record of all the weights fight night. They don't release them all, but they keep it. And we were talking about the Islam fight when I fought Islam, and he was telling me his weight. I was like,
for me, when I look at that matchup and I break it down, I think Islam is very good with defense and with distance. If he's close, he's grappling. He's not staying in that brawling zone grabbing you. And I don't care if he's gonna keep you there. He's gonna push you on the cage. If I'm in Islam's corner, that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping him there, especially for the first, second, third round, trying to initiate that takedown. Oliveira got the body lock pretty early. Islam is really good there with the trips, with the body locks, with the single legs there. I think he would have continued grappling there, and it would have been a lot more interesting. It would have definitely got past the...
Daniel Cormier respects Ian Garry's confidence, but his prediction comes with a serious warning. DC says believing in yourself is one thing, but rushing into a fight against Islam Makhachev with the wrong mindset can end badly. He doesn't rule Garry out. Yet he believes patience and smart decisions matter more than bold trash talk. When you're facing one of the most complete champions in the UFC.
I love confidence. I love confidence. I love a guy that believes in himself. I love someone that's willing to go out on a limb and call their shot. What I don't understand, though, is sometimes a person is misguided in their thoughts. And when they're misguided in their thoughts, they set themselves up for a very, very bad night or a bad result. I'm not saying Ian Garry cannot beat Islam Makhachev. What I'm saying is you got to take that as it comes.
Making his UFC debut in Abu Dhabi, Chanko faced off against fellow newcomer Damian Japicki. He delivered a standout performance, outworking and outstriking Japicki over 3 rounds to secure a dominant unanimous decision victory. The MMA world took notice, with several fighters weighing in on his impressive debut. Alan Joban praised his elbow strikes, while Lerone Murphy noted that Chanko was slick. Bilal Muhammad and Aaron Bronstetter both commended his crisp and elite striking. Terrence McKinney was particularly impressed by his clinch work and short elbows. What's more, Chanko's striking defense was equally impressive, allowing him to land with volume while remaining evasive. In a heartfelt moment, Chanko immediately called his mom after the fight to share the news of his victory.
Assalamu alaikum. Ye brother ba. Bar kawa. Same bar kawa. Хорошо, давай, assalamu alaikum.
Magomed Ankalayev regained his dominant form in the main event, finishing Bogdan Guskov with a 5th-round TKO. At the post-fight press conference, Ankalayev suggested he may target a bout with Paulo Costa, pending the recovery timeline of Carlos Ulberg.
Already the #1 contender, but as we know in this division right now, our champion is hurt. We don't know when he's going to come back. So if he's going to take a long time to come back, I would like to stay active. And I believe I saw something or heard something that Paulo Costa, wrote something in my direction. I'm not sure what he was trying to say. He was trying to bother me. He was trying to get my attention. So if it is indeed that the champion is going to be out for a little while, then potentially maybe we can have a good fight with Costa.
UFC light heavyweight Dustin Jacoby has provided a health update following his 2nd-round knockout loss to newcomer Mohamed Saidov at UFC Abu Dhabi. Jacoby entered as the betting favorite, but Saidov delivered a spectacular performance, earning a highlight reel knockout in his impressive UFC debut. The defeat proved even more costly for Jacoby, who posted on social media that he believes he broke his arm in the opening round. He wrote, "Appreciate the support, guys. Caught my right arm early in the fight and think I may have broke it. Part of me is certain. The optimistic side is remaining hopeful. I hope I'm wrong. I'll get x-rays first thing when I get back home. Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail, but I will always be the man in the arena." Islam Makhachev is currently preparing for his upcoming title defense at UFC 330. Meanwhile, a hilarious video has surfaced online, featuring an elderly man demonstrating techniques to defeat Ian Garry. Magomed Ankalayev's latest fight at UFC Abu Dhabi has sparked criticism from fans, with many labeling it as one of the most uneventful and boring fights in recent memory. Fans took to social media to express their disappointment, with one saying Ankalayev fights are so boring, and another stating Ankalayev is so boring they should cut him win or lose. Even Paulo Costa chimed in, writing, "They are so anticlimactic. By the power of the Almighty, I shall save this weight class from monotony and boredom." In response to the criticism, Ankalayev spoke with Red Corner MMA, saying whether the fight was boring or not wasn't up to me. "I was pressing forward, but my opponent stayed on the back foot and kept moving away, so I decided to wrestle and finish him on the ground." Ankalayev also fired back at Costa, stating Costa didn't perform well in his division, then moved up, won one fight, and got loud. If he's ready to come forward, we'll be waiting for him. Meanwhile, Ulberg shared his thoughts on the UFC light heavyweight division, suggesting Ankalayev fight Yuri Prohaska and Costa face Khalid Roundtree Jr. Ulberg wrote Ankalayev versus Jiri, give them both a full camp. It's a fight the division deserves, and stylistically, it's one the fans would love to see. In other news, Goldberg, who is recovering from an ACL injury, shared a health update, saying the leg is strong enough to remind a few people who the champion is. He also stated that his responsibility is to get healthy and stay ready, leaving the decision on his first title defense to the UFC. Finally, Steve Erceg has broken his silence following his brutal defeat to Ramazanbek Tamarov at UFC Abu Dhabi, where Tamarov scored a devastating first-round knockout. Erceg's comments mark his first public statement since the loss.
I just wanted to check in and let you know that I'm okay. I had a great camp, felt fantastic, but unfortunately things don't always go your way. First of all, thank you to the UFC for all the opportunities you afford me. Thank you to Abu Dhabi for the hospitality, and congratulations to Ramazan on a great fight. Lastly, I'd like to say to all my family and friends that your continued support means the world, and yeah, I'll be back. Thanks.
In other news, former UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev is eager for a rematch against Sean Strickland, who defeated him at UFC 328. Chimaev stated that he's been training and waiting for Strickland to agree to a rematch, saying, "Nothing's changed. We're training, waiting for Sean Strickland to come out of his house. It doesn't matter to me. Whenever they give me a fight, that's when I'll return." A potential rematch between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane is reportedly in the works for UFC 333 on October 24th. Aspinall had announced his return to training for the rematch on social media. At UFC Abu Dhabi, Magomed Ankalayev was not mentioned. However, Magomed Zainikov is not a known fighter. It seems there might be some confusion with Magomed Ankalayev or another fighter, stayed undefeated with a unanimous decision victory over Damjan Japetsky. Despite the win, he faced criticism from Khabib Nurmagomedov for missing a takedown during the fight, as revealed in the post-fight press conference.
Islam or Khabib already have a chance to congratulate you, or at least say something about your performance? Yeah, we spoke immediately after I got out from the cage. Khabib said that it was a great fight, it was an exciting fight, fun fight, but you missed the takedown, he said, and that's not okay. Did Islam say anything? Islam also just said congratulations, that it was a fun, exciting fight, but you know, they kind of expected that this was going to be that type of fight. It's going to be an exciting.
Mike Perry and Dylan Danis are slated for an MMA fight at Duel Arena 1 on August 29th, the new promotion's inaugural event at the Kia Center. The card offers a hybrid of MMA, boxing, and kickboxing. Perry returns to MMA after a second-round TKO over Nate Diaz at Rousey Viez. Carano on Netflix. Danis, fighting MMA for only the second time in nearly a year, secured a 15-second submission against Warren Spencer at Misfits 22. A Renato Moicano V's. Brian Ortega rematch is targeted for UFC 331 in Los Angeles on September 19th. After difficult weight cuts, Ortega moves to lightweight with his 155-pound debut against a familiar foe. They first met at UFC 214 in 2017, where Ortega submitted him. Almost a decade later, they'll run it back. Additionally, Dan Hooker will face Saladin Parnas at UFC Paris on September 5th.
Salut l'équipe, je vous annonce officiellement ma signature à l'UFC. Je donne rendez-vous à l'UFC Paris le 5 septembre en main event contre Danuka.